Hello! I have been on the lookout for a pair of plaid pants that actually fit me for years. And every time I end up having to return them, they fit a little weird, they feel a little weird. I think it's hard for everybody to find clothes that fit them well, but I will say it's a little bit harder for curvier people to find clothes that fit them like a glove. But I have found pants that fit me like a glove over the years. They just don't happen to be plaid. This pair I bought a few years ago from Target, and I was so silly by not buying another color. I just didn't think the other colors were as pretty. I do regret it looking back. So I thought, since these fit me so well and they're so comfy, they have an elasticated waist, they're a perfect length for me, they're the perfect style, I thought I would remake it in a plaid fabric. Let me show you the fabric. Hold on, I actually forgot to do that. Did I put this back in the right place? I don't think so. This is the plaid fabric I'm gonna be using. So I'm going to recreate and duplicate one of my favorite pairs of pants into a plaid pair of pants so I can finally have plaid pants that actually fit me. I was gonna do this the way that I thought best, which was doing a bunch of measuring and making that into a pattern piece. However, I saw on Pinterest, which of course originally came from TikTok, somebody used cellophane and they like traced it. And I thought that was so genius. I'm not on TikTok, but I'll put their username so that you can go follow them too, because I thought this was genius. Now they did it with underwear. So I'm hoping, and I think that this will work with a larger piece of clothing with like more style lines and seams and such. So let's get started. Okay, so first up was to test out different markers to see which one wouldn't immediately rub off the second I touched it. Ooh, I think we have a winner. No, it's not. Let's bring back the red one and see if that works too. I tried the red one first and it had come off, but the second time I left it for just a few seconds and it definitely worked the best. So next was setting up the pant legs to be appropriately traced. I tucked one leg into the other and then I laid it out on the front of one leg with the crotch section pulled out. That sounds bad, but I hope you get what I'm saying. Once I could see all the seams, I started tracing over them. The only area I would come back to later was that faux fly that the original has that I definitely want to recreate. I also left a bit of space around the top of the waistband, trying to make it as straight across as possible. Then I just cut it out over the red lines that I'd made. The back was a bit tougher because it's larger than the front piece, so it wraps around to the front when it's laying down, which hides some of the seam lines. So I first made sure that the crotch and inseam lines were visible. Then for the outer seam, I felt underneath the fabric for the seam line, measured how far that was from the end, and then measured that amount out to mark where the seam would be. Then I tried studying how they did that faux fly. I couldn't figure it out, so I will link a couple of the videos that I used that helped me learn how to do a faux fly. But then it was time to transfer that tracing to construction paper and actually make a pattern. This is super easy. I added an inch around the inseam and the outer seam of the pants so I could do French seams and also leave a little extra ease for any fit issues. I added a 1/2 inch seam allowance around the crotch area because I've messed with this measurement before and have really messed up my pattern. On the front piece, I also made a fly-like shape with a straight line about 2 inches out and a slight curved line toward the bottom. Then I added 3.5 inches for the waistband that would turn in on itself for the elastic. If you've never made a pattern before, you're going to want to give yourself plenty of notes so you can reuse it in the future and not forget some of the things you did or changed. Since I did different measurements and seam allowances for every seam, I marked the seam allowance on every seam so I wouldn't forget, and then named the specific pattern piece, how many to cut, and either the seam allowance or in my case the seam allowance for most of the piece, which would be 1 inch. This is the information I was taught to put on all my patterns when I was pattern drafting in college, and it really helps you keep everything straight while you're cutting and sewing, as well as if you ever need to use it again in the future. Since I'd marked rounds about where the pocket was on the front panel while tracing, I then took my paper and made a somewhat similar shape for a pocket pattern, adding seam allowances as well. I needed to tape 2 pieces together for the back piece, but other than that, I pretty much followed as I had done with the front panel. The one thing I'd forgotten that is very important in pattern making is a grain line, which is basically a straight line on the pattern so you can place the pattern piece correctly on the fabric. If you don't have this, your pieces can stretch quite weirdly and differently as you wear it. But then I started cutting out all the pieces I needed, which luckily were not many. Since I cut out the back pieces first, I lined the pattern up with my front panel to make sure they would be somewhat pattern matched. I'm never looking for perfection with my pattern matching because that is my personal form of torture, but I try my best without driving myself crazy. For the baking break this week, it's actually a bit of a continuation of last week where I made homemade pumpkin puree. And with this, I am going to make a homemade pumpkin pie with a fall leaf border. As always, all the recipes I used will be in the description.
You do not have to be good. Even the best of us have been misunderstood. So get up onto your feet. The sun is shining repentance through the leaves. Its rays will wash you clean. walking slowly, I'm taking my time. All I like her talking is starting to rhyme. I'm letting go of lonely, letting go of strife. I just can't get enough of this beautiful life. I just can't get enough of this beautiful life. You do not have to be known. Even the best of us have sometimes felt alone. This whole world is your home, so reach out your branches, lay your roots back to the soil, and watch the rain help you grow. I'm walking slowly, I'm taking my time. All I like her talking is starting to rhyme. I'm letting go of lonely, letting go of strife. I just can't get enough of this beautiful life. I just can't get enough of this beautiful life. Oh, you look so amazing. Your hair, it drives me crazy. Dreaming of God on a sandy shore, saved by amazing grace. Or maybe my lack of faith. The seasons change, but they come back the same. They'll wash you clean with their rain. I'm walking slowly, I'm taking my time. All I like her talking is starting to rhyme. I'm letting go of lonely, letting go of strife. I just can't get enough of this beautiful life. I just can't get enough of this beautiful life. Oh, give me all you can of this beautiful life.
So back to sewing. I started by sewing the back and front crotch seams together. As I said earlier, I'll have those faux fly tutorial videos in the description, and I'd highly recommend watching those to get a more in-depth idea of what I'm talking about. But basically I sewed this extra fly bit that I had added at the front with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Then I folded the fabric over at that fly area to be flush with the rest of the seam and ironed that down. Then I marked where the rest of the fly on the back side of the fabric was hidden and then stitched that down. This looks amazing, and as a zipper hater, I am definitely going to be using this in the future. Then I started the French seams that would attach the front and back panels. First, I pinned the pieces wrong side to wrong side and stitched a 3/8 inch seam. Then I turned the pieces right side out and ironed the seams flat. I then stitched another seam line at 5/8 of an inch in. This ensures that it is a 1 inch seam allowance total, but the difference in seam allowances will also ensure that you do not have any raw edges sticking out. You can also trim more off of that first seam allowance just to make sure. Then I started on the belt loops. I made 2 3-inch wide strips out of scrap fabric and lined them with fusible interfacing. Then I folded both raw edges in at 1/2 inch and then folded it one more time and ironed that all down. Then I also cut out a length of 6-inch wide interfacing and ironed that to the waistband area of the pants, leaving a 1/2 inch free at the top in order to tack that down later. I then bought the thickest elastic I could find, which I didn't need it to be this thick, but I am really tired of my usual elastic flipping over inside my waistbands. But anyway, I stitched a rectangle over the 2 ends to secure it together. You definitely don't want elastic to snap while you're wearing it, so the rectangle will ensure that it's very secure. Since I saw a line of stitching at the top and bottom of the waistband on the original pants, I thought I could start at the top to stitch the elastic down and then stitch the bottom. This was completely wrong, and I ended up having to redo this. I should have done it my normal way of making a tube out of the waistband for the elastic, and then I should have stitched down that top of the waistband and the elastic together, basically. Towards the end of the summer, a lot of the backyard birds had stopped showing up in our bird sanctuary, but once fall had gotten into full swing here, the birds have been back, plus so many more. Very tired. So this is the look we're all getting today. Very unfortunate news. So you know how I did French seams, right? It actually ended up being a good thing, but it's a little bit of a sad thing at the same time. The fabric, I kind of knew this, and that was another reason why I wanted to do French seams. The fabric I bought has a lot less elasticity to it than my original pair of pants. But I wanted to see if it would still work, if there might be some natural stretchiness to the fabric. And it does not. I wore it around just like the basic pants for a few minutes and it didn't stretch out at all. Luckily, I have some extra ease in my French seams, but unfortunately, all that beautiful work is going to have to come out. But I am really happy that I had them because now the pants will at least fit and I won't cry because the pants don't fit. After that, I have a bunch of finishing touches to do. I have to do the pockets and then the belt loops and then lastly, the hem, and then we're all done, and then I can show you the final result. Let's go. So I started by working on the pockets. I turned the top edge over twice and then edge finished all around the other edges. After ironing all those edges in, I then pinned the outer edge of the pocket to the outer edge of the pants, planning for the highest point to end about an inch below the waistband. I then attached all the belt loops, attaching them with a zigzag stitch, because honestly, I've had belt loops pop off on me before, and I do not want that to happen on pants that I've made. I put 2 towards the front, 1 at each side seam, and 2 at center back. I like that extra loop at the back for more stability as well when wearing a belt. And then with that, it is time to show you the final result. Sorry, I had to take my cardigan off. It's actually 80 degrees here today, which is unseasonably warm for this time of year for where I live, but it is going back down very soon. It's just today is quite warm. So took off the cardigan. My feelings about these pants have transformed a ton from the last time I worked on it to trying them on this morning. When I was finishing them up and trying them on, I was actually not very happy with them. I had made a couple of mistakes that I'd had to redo, as you saw, and I just didn't even know if they looked good by that point. I think I was too close to it. And then my mom walked in and she said, "Oh my gosh, those pants are adorable. When are you making me a pair?" So I was like, okay, maybe they're not that bad. And then this morning I tried them on and I was like, wait a second, these are actually really, really cute. So I'm pretty happy with them. They're not as loose fitting as the original pair turns out to be once you've been wearing them for a few minutes. But I'm actually okay with that because I tend to like the tighter fit on those green ones. And when they expand throughout the day, I tend to just think they get a little bit too big. These do not stretch that much. They stretched a little bit now that I've had them on for a while. I like the slightly tighter fit. I could do with just like a little bit more ease around the thigh. It's not bad. I'm really happy with them though. I think they're very cute. They're so comfy. I cannot wait until it's like 50 degrees here and I can plop on a really comfy, cozy sweater with these lighter pants and not be overheated because I'm not wearing like really warm pants and a really warm sweater. I think that combo is gonna be great later this month. I'm really, really, really tired, as you might have heard me say earlier in this video. Juggling a lot of things and my brain's tired. I'm gonna take next week off. That does mean that my winter Persephone video is going to have to be pushed off until January or February. I am very, very sorry. But what I was doing is I was going too fast on these pants. Like I slowed down when I told myself I didn't have to do that video now. I could push it off. And I actually fixed the mistakes on these pants. And I wasn't going to originally, and I'm so glad I did because now I really love these pants. I don't think I would have loved them if I had rushed through them like I was doing to try to keep up with my own schedule. It's my fault. I scheduled myself all these videos. And I'm so excited for all the things I have coming up in November and December. And I think a little bit of a break will do me good. Thank you so much for understanding. Y'all are very, very kind to me. So I just know you guys are gonna understand. So thank you. I'll see you in 2 weeks for a very fun styling video. And then we'll be having some fun sewing content after that. If you like this video and are not subscribed, be sure to subscribe. Liking and commenting also help me out a lot. I hope you had a good time, and I hope to see you back here next time. Bye. I can't even tell if it's a good shot anymore. I don't know. Well, hello. Where are you going? Sir? Bye! Ollie! Yay! Yes! Good job! Want to show everybody? Good job, buddy. Good